All righty. Can you believe it? It's the New Year's. We're going to begin doing our stuff, whatever that may be. From Carrot Read tomorrow to one crazy day in downtown New York, Manhattan, they call it. All coming up. Stay right where you are. Welcome to Justice Served You.
Justice, where are you? Michael and Linda are here.
Love you, Linda.
The world is justice. Will we ever find justice?
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing
Will
"Oh
we
Happy
know
Day."
justice when we see it? To be and down may I lead the way. Hoping justice will win the day. Dictionary clues, finding justice where we can. Join us now, we're on the run. Justice is waiting, we'll see it done.
Okay, then. I'm already lost. I'm already looking for my pieces of paper that I had here. And, there they are. Hey, good to have you along. Happy New Year, and welcome back. Today might have been a day for working for a lot of folks after a number of days off. I know it's very difficult to kind of get back into the grind. So we appreciate you joining to kind of, refocus, on what we've got going on here. We were going to begin getting into a case today out of Georgia called the Sarah Grace Patrick case, but that was pushed. We're still going to talk about it with my very special guest coming up here. Lauren Conlin is here, and she had one hell of a day, which we'll get into. But before we do that stuff, let's do this. Okay, among the trials that scheduled for this week that we thought we would dip into and kind of follow along, analyze during the case course of the evening. And by the way, Linda Kenney Baden, of course, on assignment. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there she is. And look who she's with. Well, it looks like Mr. Ben Chew. And everybody knows him, of course, from the Johnny Depp case. So she's dropping in on us. She's been working with all kinds of, name attorneys up there in Harvard as she is molding those minds of mush. But Ben, just one of the folks that doing the good work there, trying to impress upon these kids the importance of trial techniques and argument, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously we miss her. She'll be back next week. We got some amazing guest hosts, I will call them, to help fill that void. Lauren standing by. Before we get to that, a couple of in the rip and read category here. One of the trials that is beginning is the Uvalde school shooting trial. This is the case in which, as we know, horrific story, 19 children killed in that school, 2 teachers, 2 adjoining classrooms. The cops hear about the shooting. They show up and do nothing for about 73 or more minutes. It's outrageous. People wanted, heads to roll. Well, now maybe they will. This is the first trial of 2 cops that were there that day and did nothing. That is just beginning. Jury selection is just underway in the Texas case. They moved it from one location to the next. It's in Corpus Christi now. They moved outside the jurisdiction. So we'll keep an eye on that one, among other things. Okay. Very important. On the streaming channels now, the movie Him, which is the movie in which I lend some of my voice acting talents. I'll be honest with you, it didn't do so well at the box office. I mean, made some money. They all do. But it's, it's a big picture, universal picture, Jordan Peele production. The director, Justin Tippings, could not have been a nicer dude. But people had some issues with the movie. So if you're going to tune it in, I think it's free on a few, like Peacock, I think, is streaming it if you have that subscription. A couple of others, they make you pay a couple of bucks. Wait till it'll be free soon enough. But listen to the first 3 or 4 minutes. Then I'm done. And then, that's my role. The first voice you hear, and then after that, it gets into the movie. It's all downhill after that, I think is what I'm trying to say. Let's see, what else? Jamal Demmons. Jamal Demmons, also known as YNK Melly. His trial is supposed to start. Remember, it's a retrial. Ultimately, it'll be a retrial of the double murder that took place a few years back. He had one trial in 24, or was it 23, that he had a hung jury. That is not the trial taking place this week, though. In connection with that double murder trial is a case against him for witness tampering, witness intimidation, even. And so that's going to be handled as a separate trial. There are 3 or 4 charges all linked to a number of witnesses on the list for the upcoming trial. And that is being, they've gone through the motions in limine, and all of that's working its way through the system. They'll be back, though, not till next Monday to begin, hopefully, wrapping up all of the motions that are still outstanding and beginning the jury selection process. So we will also keep an eye on that. Okay, Karen Reed. Tomorrow, the hearing that was pushed from December 19th, it is going to be tomorrow. It is going to be Zoomed. I confirmed that with the clerk today. I got the number. We'll roll that for you here at Justice Serve TV, and then we'll comment on it later in the evening when we do the show. Tomorrow night, I'll have Terry Austin on, a former law and crime colleague, so we'll get into that. It's a lot of discovery stuff. We know they've already agreed to take one of the discovery matters off the table relating to answers to interrogatories. There was really one interrogatory. What do you know about the people you believe were part of this House defendant's death plan? My kind of exaggerated version there. And this is not the case now in federal court. This is the civil case in Plymouth. And they just sent out a notice today saying, hey, attorneys, let us know who's going to be handling it for which person. Because when I was last there, Plymouth, giant courthouse, they had added at that time the 18th attorney. So the court is reaching out and saying, look, who's going to be the mouthpiece for the various parties here? We have the O'Keefe family, we have the Barrs, we've got Karen Reed, all of that. That's happening at 11 tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. And again, we'll roll it for you here on Justice Serve TV, uninterrupted. I won't be blathering. I'll blather later in the evening when we come back to talk more about it. Okay, speaking of blather, and I mean that in the nicest way. She is amazing. She's a wonderful person. When we put the picture together, when we were both down there for Luigi Mangione, we took a quick picture, and I do believe it broke the internet. I believe that's what happened, Lauren. People were so excited to see you. So
that's so nice. But I think that they were excited to see you out in the wild, because people love that. They love your man on the street. Sorry, I was trying to untangle these. Not going to work. So.
Is that a macrame project? What is that? What do you got going on?
I don't even know. It's one of the many things that I should be taking care of.
Well, I'm so glad you could join, because when we had planned this, this little thing happened over the weekend that nobody was expecting, unless you got some inside info there. And that was the Maduro vacation. He was vacationed from Venezuela. And I will tell you, I had this conversation this morning with Lauren. I said, she said, I'm down there. And I said, I was wrestling with, I wanted to go because this is historic. I don't give a rip which side of the argument you're on, which side you believe is the right way to handle. This is historic. This is Noriega historic Monroe Doctrine stuff. As a flashback to your 8th grade civics. It's so important. And I opted not to, because we don't do politics here. There is always going to be a little bit of overlap. But I felt this was so much more non-true crime as it is political. Then I said, but we got it covered, because I've deputized Lauren Conlin as Justice Serve TV correspondent. Even though she's with Pop Crime, right?
Well, yes. So I still have my Pop Crime TV channel, but I've been heavily focused on Los Angeles Magazine with their YouTube and reporting for them.
Okay.
Doing lots of things. But yeah, so I mean, I guess I didn't really think of this as political, although I know that it is technically. I mean, even saying that Maduro is the Venezuelan president apparently is political. I didn't even know, in my story today, I was like, I'm going to call him a leader at this point, just to not piss off both sides, even though I'm sure I did. I pissed off.
Of course, you can't win. Yeah,
oh my gosh. Wait, by the way, I referred to a woman today as Caucasian, and I cannot get over it. People find a way to troll no matter what. They're like, who calls people Caucasian now? I'm like,
oh my
did we not? Are we not? I'm genuinely wondering, are we not supposed to? I don't know.
Look at any form you fill out for the government, for an application. Caucasian is one of the options. Sometimes they'll say white, but sometimes Caucasian. I don't think it's a dirty word. I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Her name was also like Karen. So no offense to other Karens, but I don't usually clap back or anything, but I was like, I'm shaking right now.
On that front, and speaking of Karens,
Yeah.
over the weekend, I reran something we did for the members last week, and it was basically a flashback to April 1, where I was accosted, and which led to my First Amendment case against Massachusetts State Police, because there was a new amendment to our complaint. But also, I re-racked the June 18th verdict day, where I was on the street and just showing all kinds of stuff, and it was really just an amalgam of all those experiences, right? Well, within that were interviews I did with, I will just say, people that in the 7 months since, have become disassociated with others.
I did see, and I'm out of that world, but even I knew. I was like, okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and people were just outraged because I was showing some of these people that are no longer in that camp, but now they're in, and it just blows me away. And I, like you, try to distance myself from that. And I will say now to anybody who feels like they have to chime in and suggest that I'm being evil because I've re-racked a piece of video that maybe puts people in a different light than they would agree with, go find something that is more suited to your skill set. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That's the nicest way I can say it.
I feel like people, I mean, not all people, of course, but I think that they think that we are thinking about them, or we are thinking about these things, and we're not. I know that I don't remember what it was, but since we're talking about Karen Reed stuff, some people might remember this. I know Dizzy will remember this because my mind was blown. So, when you're just like browsing through Twitter and you might see like a catchphrase or something, whatever. So this is when that Netflix thing came out. Kendra, the mom that catfished her daughter. What the hell was that called? You remember what that's called? Whatever.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, not important, but either way, I just did a post and I was like, she's just like, she's not a regular soccer mom or something. And I got accused of throwing shade like, I woke up in the morning and I was so my mind was blown. People coming at me saying horrible things about me, because they thought I was throwing shade at Jen McCabe. And I was like, I'm literally talking about this woman on Netflix. She literally is a coach for her daughter's sports teams. And maybe I saw it on Twitter being used and it was in my brain. So I just, that was not my intention. But listen, there's no talking to these people. There's no it was so surreal. And I was like, you think that I think about this 24/7 like you guys do. That's not the case. I am anyway, sorry, that took way too long to spit out.
No, it is, but it's just sad and it's unfortunate. And I like to stay above that fray. But apparently Jen McCabe has co-opted the phrase soccer mom. Now we can no longer use it in any other context. Is that the deal?
Apparently, which is fine. I don't use it very often, but I was just like, okay, whatever.
All right. So I've taken you way off track. Let's get back now to where we were. So here we are. This is Nicholas, right? That's his first name. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Nicholas Maduro, strong man is the phrase I'm going to use. The strong man from Venezuela was removed by the U.S. government. And I think even from both sides, they're saying what an amazing operation it was. I've heard universal praise for how it was carried out, whether people believe it should have been or not. So he and his wife are escorted to the U.S. They land very near where I used to live in north of Westchester, Stewart Airport there. And then I'm hearing, they're going to be in federal court Monday. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So they were, and you were. Set it up for us. It was like what, at noonish it happened today?
Yes. So it was at noon. It was at SDNY, and I was like, oh, of course it's at SDNY. SDNY is a project. It is a pain in the butt. But I got there early. I wanted to be sort of in the action with the protesters. I saved this to show you guys. I got a lot of
some paraphernalia.
Yeah, some things that were handed to me. There was, and the Luigi Mangione supporters, they did something similar, but this sounds wild. But I mean, his supporters are very tame, very, very tame, and very, very, very different than what I saw today. But it was a majority of people protesting. They were saying free Maduro, and they were saying free Venezuela. And then there were about 3 people that were actually originally from Venezuela that were chirping at the other people, being like, what country are you from? You have no experience, you know nothing. And I posted this on my ex if anybody saw it, but they got into an altercation because the people with the Venezuelan flags that were, around their body, they were literally like, you guys know nothing, you know absolutely nothing. So at one point though, it got crazy. I was like,
Really?
I might get trampled.
Wow.
I might get trampled. And I was like, but I gotta get this. I gotta get this. But
The
the police
intrepid
presence,
reporter. Yes.
yeah, the police presence was it was good. There was a lot of them. And I was a little nervous at first, I think, but I guess thinking about Mamdani, because I know he's defunding the police, but it obviously doesn't happen on day one. So I was like, please don't defund them today. Just God, please don't. But I gotta tell you, what we saw in court today for the arraignment, it was like something out of a movie. I mean, I know that you attend arraignments just like I do. They're so boring. The defendant stands up, basically pleads not guilty. It's nothing. It's a whole bunch of nothing. And today it was just so crazy because they're going through the spiel. And so I'll start, from the beginning. They walk in, Celia Flores and Nicolas Maduro. They're wearing, I think it was navy blue tops, V-neck tops, and the tan garb from NBC. They were not cuffed. They were shackled. And Maduro is using, what's his name? Barry Pollock, who defended, Julian Assange. So I always say his name wrong, but whatever. I'm sure somebody will correct me.
I'll say Assange.
Assange, yeah.
Assange.
Someone will correct me somewhere.
This Maduro, he's a tall dude. He's a giant, right?
He is. He's tall, and he's he definitely, you can tell he's a leader. He speaks with conviction. He was super confident, and he was super dramatic. But Barry Pollock, by the way, just skipping around a little bit, at first I was like, he's probably going to have a public defender. His assets are frozen. He has no money. Well, clearly they're going to find a way to pay. And Pollock actually brought that up. He was like, I think that we need to discuss procedure and fees with the AUSAs about, and they're like, yeah, don't worry, we'll take care of it. So, but anyway, so basically the judge went through his spiel and he just said, are you Nicolas Moro Maduro? And he stands up, we're expecting this yes. And then all of a sudden, in Spanish, of course, and of course, while he's speaking in Spanish, I was looking around and I was like, I wish I had a real-time translator because this is insane. What is he saying? He's speaking for like 30 seconds. So he got up and he was like, I am Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. He's like, I was captured from my home on January 3rd. I was kidnapped. I am a war prisoner. So dramatic. And the judge is like, it's okay. It's okay. We just just want to know your name. It was like a whole thing. And then the same thing happened with Celia, where he asked her name and she stands up and she's like, I am the first lady of Venezuela. And he's like, okay. Like, So it was very interesting when it came to some of the quirks that were happening.
Let me ask you this, because she's known as Flores. Obviously, he's known as Maduro. What's the deal there?
I mean, they were married a bit later, so I don't really know much, but I do know that the photo that is surfaced, I think it surfaced maybe 5 or 6 years ago when they wanted the reward, or they were offering the reward. She looks nothing like that. She's almost 70 and she looks like a grandma, like, not trying to be disrespectful, but she looks so glamorous in these photos. And look, I know I would look like a piece of butthole if I came out of
beat up me. Yeah.
I would look horrible, but hello, it's day one. Okay. It's day one. You can't look that bad. Okay. She looked.
It was traumatic though. It was traumatic. Her abduction was traumatic. Tell me about, did you see any physical injuries that she suggested might have happened during her abduction?
She did bring up her lawyer brought up physical injuries that she sustained during her, quote, what they characterized as an abduction. I didn't physically see any, but she was standing up kind of slowly. They basically said she needs x-rays because they think that she either fractured or bruised her ribs. But I know how painful that is. And I feel like you wouldn't be able to stand up and down so, fluidly, I guess, if you had fractured ribs. But she's clearly a tough broad, we know that much.
So in your medical opinion, she was acting consistent with somebody who might have some sort of rib injury?
Sure, maybe.
Okay.
Like she was standing up. And yeah, people saying like her head was bandaged. I really couldn't see that much. I mean, I I couldn't see a huge bandage wrapped around her head. I mean, I couldn't. But
Hey, you just gave me a great idea when you were talking about, they're speaking in Spanish and quickly. I mean, if they just say "sí," are you so? "Sí," that's fine. But when they go on, they make those translation earpieces now,
yeah.
where it translates in real time. I think for a
Mhm.
trial of this kind or procedure as it continues forward, where you're likely to have somebody speaking a different language, and I only know, mi español es muy mal, lo siento. It's just enough to get me in trouble. But I think you might, because it's pretty quiet in court generally, so
Mhm.
you might not have distractions. It might work. I'm gonna make a note of that. Check
I
that
mean,
out. Translation thing.
I will just say it was painful waiting for the translator. And at first they didn't have the mic set up for her. And I kind of was like, this is a huge deal. You don't have the,
Uh,
it's a noon hearing. It's not like it's 8:30. You don't have the mic set up. So that was kind of annoying because again, it was just like, we wanted to know what was being said. He also said when he was, he was pleading not guilty, which by the way, Pollock, after he's like, I am a decent man, I am innocent of these crimes. And Pollock's like, so just for the record, he's entering a not guilty plea.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
so, I'm telling you, it was like literally out of a movie. We're just like, oh, okay, this
That's
is
funny.
actually very entertaining. And then I think it was towards the end, he had asked how he was asked by the judge how the translator is working out for him. And he said, it's great. I've been taking notes this whole time. And he said, respectfully, I need to ask a favor. He said, would I be able to keep my notes? Would that be okay?
Wow.
And they were just like, yeah, like it's fine. I think he just he didn't understand, I guess, how America works. Clearly.
Well, let's
You have
let's paint that with the canvas of his life. This is the guy that is strongman, leader, whatever you want. This is the guy who would not know justice as it smacked him in the head. It's just not part of the process there. They pick people off the street, they disappear people. I mean, that's what happens when the authorities have you in front of them. That's his life. That's what he knows. That's what he's done. So now here he is in a U.S. court. The symbolism may be similar, but for him, rights? What? I think his brain must be just twisting, thinking, once he gets his hand, and his attorneys help him understand that he has these powers,
Yeah.
he's going to take full advantage of them. But today was probably a little confusing.
Totally agree. And they waived their bail. They waived that. And I saw pretrial services, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, I guess they have to be there, but I was like, I can't imagine that they're gonna offer some kind of package or anything
about
like
the
that.
outrage. Yeah. And and quite often, I don't think it's the case here. I think these folks are never getting out. Could they be flight risk? Nah, I don't think they're ever getting out. But attorneys putting that to the side is not totally unusual at the arraignment process. Let's revisit that after we've had a chance for some of the dust to settle. Here, not a chance is happening. Not a chance.
Yeah. Right. As well. And they waive their right to a speedy trial because they have voluminous discovery to get through. They were not able to set any motion deadlines or anything like that because it's just such a heavy case. They set the next hearing for March of 2026, which March is shaping up to be another busy month because the Eastern District has all of the mob NBA hearings in March. So, and also then in May, it's the 2 months later, it's the MLB trial with the Cleveland what is it? Sorry.
The pitchers.
Sports. What is that team called?
The Guardians.
Guardians.
I still like to call them the Indians. I'm sorry. I don't see it as a slam to indigenous people. But anyway, so that's good that you're going to be on the JSTV payroll, which, believe me, will not put you in a new tax bracket. I can tell you that.
Darn it.
So that's good to know. That's these things overlap, and people should know that these federal cases. I know the hardest thing about going into federal court is giving up this baby right here. It's not like when you go in with press credentials to state court, even in New York, where they don't allow the cameras and things. You've got your goods, and you can you can post from there, and you do all those things. But in federal court, you put it in that little magic bag and just hope it's there, on your way out, right?
Yeah, well, the Eastern District is actually a lot less stringent about it. You could literally walk in with an application to just have your phone and laptop for a specific case, and they'll probably let you. Yeah. So it's much different there. But Southern District, you have to have, I think, 12 actual trials or something like that under your belt. Yeah, it's crazy. So a lot of the TV stations or the larger media companies, they'll all kind of share that pass with whoever is going to court, just because it's kind of a thing. But I did see someone, I wanted to address this in the chat. I think people are not understanding what law they're applying to charge, Maduro and his wife. And basically my understanding of all of this is it's the conspiracy. That's the biggest thing. It's the conspiracy to distribute the cocaine and the narco-terrorism in the United States, using these aircrafts to carry the drugs to the US that, are owned by Venezuela and operated by the Venezuelan regime. And then all of these other acts, these predicate acts. And again, this is my understanding. I'm obviously not a lawyer, but all these predicate acts, the kidnappings, the beatings, the kickbacks that Flores was allegedly getting. This is all stemming from Venezuela in the United States as to what they were doing, their operation. So if that helps a little bit, maybe.
And if we take it a step back, first of all, this was an indictment. I think Obama put together the indictment originally. And it's just been sitting there.
10 years old. It's not
even been sitting there, nobody acting on it. So the question people might have is, well, how do we reach into a foreign country and snatch somebody? Monroe Doctrine, take a look at it. Anybody in this hemisphere, okay, that's basically North America, South America. If there is some threat to the U.S. as a result of activities in that country, we have some latitude to stop that potential threat to the U.S. And so that gives us, through the Monroe Doctrine, access to those that aren't on our soil. That's the bigger, broader picture. That's how he gets here, and that's how we try to stop him from doing what we believe we have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Those things that we think that he's been doing. So
right. And I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking, how would I feel if that was me in that position in a different country, essentially getting, let's just call it, extradited. Would I believe I was actually going to get a fair trial? Probably not. I got to be honest. Not that I. I'm sure that's the mindset, but that was probably also the mindset during the Nuremberg trials. I'm sure, which is a very interesting movie if you haven't seen it. Russell Crowe, amazing. Yes,
but yeah, I mean, those folks of that mindset. Do you really think Maduro would go to bed at night thinking, I just pulled another fast one, I just committed all these crimes? No, he thinks what he's doing is fine. This is part of his world and his economy. So let me give you a quick Venezuelan story. I have to go back when Hugo Chavez was running the joint, which was up until 2013 when he died, and basically Maduro came in soon after that. I went down there undercover for a story I was doing for a current affair. So, since it was a current affair, it was a cheesy story. I went undercover to Santa Margarita Island, which is just off the coast, to explore a brothel that was being run by a New York company. So I spent 3 days in a brothel. It was very difficult.
Soccer mom?
Very difficult duty. It was a soccer mom. Was it? No, it was no. There are no soccer moms involved.
No, but there was a Manhattan soccer mom that was running some.
Oh no,
Okay.
this was a
Yeah.
guy. This was a businessman
Oh, okay.
who had a
Okay.
legitimate business. And
Okay.
and what's amazing to me was that I got out alive because they found out that we were videotaping them undercover and stuff. They weren't happy about that. But that they were running it like a business where they had all of the associates. The women had medical records on file so that everybody was checked regularly and very healthy. And it was a lesson on many fronts. But I remember going into Caracas, flew into Caracas, not far from where Maduro was living, I'm sure. Stayed at the JW Marriott, which is one of the nicer hotels in the
Yeah.
Marriott chain. And they said, do not leave the hotel, period. Do not go outside the hotel. We can't guarantee your safety. Like, whoa, all right. So then we got on a little puddle jumper and went over to the island where we were there for about 3 days, me and my cameraman, both just buddies, going to hang out at the brothel and, shooting some undercover
my
video.
God.
And
Wow.
yeah.
Wait, and I feel like, sorry, this is why I'm really messed up in the head, and maybe I'm different now that I have kids, but like not that different. But if someone told me that don't go outside, you're not safe, I just want to go outside. Like
I know.
Like, isn't that horrible? I'd be like, well, I'm just gonna go outside.
How bad could it be?
Like, just to test the waters, just to see. I just can't help myself. I mean,
yeah, no, I don't blame you. And we kind of had to.
You
So in
did
my
it too?
mind, I justified it. Like, we have to go out because that's what we're here for. We could just
Yeah.
hang out at the JW Marriott bar for the weekend, but that might not fly. And so, and it was worse after we were discovered because then we had to get out. And I wasn't sure how far they might go to keep us from getting out. And we would have been just missing in action. Nobody would ever have known where we disappeared to.
That's
so that's exciting. That's exciting. So I get just a sense of what Caracas today and Venezuela as a whole is like today, because it's the same regime. It's, went from Hugo Chavez right to Nicolas Maduro, basically.
Yeah. I was thinking earlier, just, and sorry, this is just going back to Maduro and his case, but that also, I did not expect you, by the way, to say the word brothel. I didn't expect that to come out of your mouth.
Didn't figure that was coming?
No, I didn't at all. Yeah. No. I don't know if you're familiar. I think you are with Jeffrey Lichtman, who represented El Chapo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had thought maybe he was going to be tapped for this case just because he has experience with the narco terrorism.
Right.
And he's pretty much one of the only lawyers I feel like in New York that does. So I was kind of surprised to see, that he wasn't even called upon, apparently.
Interesting.
So
yeah, I was wondering how they scrambled, because until they actually had possession of these folks, they wouldn't be reaching out. Hey, any experience with international drug trafficking?
Apparently they got Pollock this morning.
That's what I'm thinking.
Isn't that crazy? Oh, wait, I wanted to tell you something else too that I think totally got lost in my video. But my friend Anthony from Pix 11, he got such a good scoop from the DEA that sweatsuit, that Nike sweatsuit.
Oh yeah.
That did not belong to Maduro. That was given to him by the DEA.
Really?
Yeah, they gave him this sweatsuit. They continued to change his clothes just so he wouldn't be this target. They didn't want him to, the pew, I don't know, whatever. But when he told me that, I was like, shut up. They gave him that night. That's like a $250 sweatsuit. I'm pretty sure. Like, really?
Those are all tax dollars. What are you doing? Oh.
Yeah, they gave it to him to wear. So he had to constantly, change his clothes before he got to the MDC. So I was like, I find that to be my favorite scoop of the whole day. I wish I got it myself. I wish I could take credit for it. But
well, good for you for giving credit where credit was due. And it tells you the detail to which this operation was planned, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
the detail is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. It again, regardless of whatever side you're on, you have to admit this is wild as hell.
Yeah. So before we move on, they'll be back in court. Did you say March?
Yes, March 17th.
And that's going to be just at that point, probably just trying to sort through what discovery plan is going to be put together.
I think they called it a status hearing.
Yeah.
Basically.
And they're also doing some medical review, right? Make sure they're all okay and, no issues there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I guess they're going to be staying in the Celebrity Hilton over there at the jail. right? Where like Diddy stayed and Epstein
Mhm.
stayed and Bankman, Samuel
Yeah,
Bankman-Fried.
Bankman-Fried, yes, and,
And
they're in a segregated unit, or at least I know that Diddy was in a segregated unit. He
Mhm.
wasn't by himself in solitary or anything like that, but this unit is for people that obviously are high profile, in danger, or are snitches,
Yeah, and
so
I think it's the fourth floor, as I recall, and I think that's the same area that Epstein was in, where they have a separate cell, but it's a block of maybe a dozen
well,
others.
Epstein was the last one in, MCC. He was pretty much that closed right after him, which was Manhattan. Yeah, the Manhattan Correctional,
And this
or
one's
whatever,
in
or
Brooklyn,
Manhattan
right?
Detention Center or
And
whatever.
they're in Brooklyn, is that right?
This
They're
is
in Brooklyn?
Brooklyn. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah. Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they'll be comfy there. I just can't imagine their mindset having, we talk about all the time some celebrities who fall from grace. Even when we talk about like the Donna Adelson case out of Florida, not a celebrity, but somebody of means, where they've gotten everything every day is like lifestyles of the rich and famous. And
Yeah.
now they're put into custody where people are telling them what to do and what not to do. And here's your yucky food, and here's your hard as rock bed. Uh,
I think
I don't
about
feel
this
sorry
all the
for him.
time.
I'm
No,
just,
I mean, I literally, my hair would be gray in a week. I literally, I just think about this all the time. People would be like, Lauren Conlin's
what happened
unrecognizable.
to
Who's
you?
this Italian looking grandmother? Like, this is crazy. She's like a grandma all of a sudden. No, but you know who else is in there is the real estate guys, the Alexander brothers. Their trials
Oh,
in
yeah.
January as well. And talk about coming from means, totally loaded now. Yeah.
Yep.
Not great,
Yep.
not great.
Well, as I say, I would not do well in custody. I would not do well. I'm sorry. And
Same.
I don't come from means. I just come from normal. But
Yep,
yeah.
literally. I don't know. I feel like I would look at someone the wrong way because I just have crazy eyes, and I just feel like I would,
What are
and
you
I'd be like,
smiling at? What's so funny? What's so funny, girl? What are you laughing at? Yeah. Yeah, you'd be in
I
trouble.
really would be horrible, horrible, and just so unintentional about it. It would just not be great, but
Yeah. Well, let's hope that doesn't come to pass.
Yeah,
Okay.
can we please? Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
so
Okay.
much.
Okay. So look what I have. I have a little something here. See this? Los Angeles Magazine.
Oh, I love
Los
that.
Angeles Magazine.
Thank
So
you.
we're
You
gonna
read it? You
talk now.
posted it.
We're going from whatever you would call that to the sublime with football. This is again the intersection. This is the perfect intersection of pop crime.
Mm.
But as folks may or may not know, a couple of the New England Patriots are facing some criminal charges based on, I guess I can call them domestic relationships. Although when we get into the one, especially with Stefon Diggs, it was an employee-employer relationship, sort of. But anyway, and so you've written about it in Los Angeles Magazine. Here it is, right here, and you can actually, like, these are pieces of paper I printed out, pieces of paper.
You're the
But
best.
you can watch
You
it.
are the best.
You can look at it online. And these two players, especially Diggs, big star for the operation. And of course, for those who may not know, New England Patriots now officially after the weekend are the number 2 seed in the AFC. They will have a wild card game that they host next week.
Like cool sports.
Yeah,
That's great.
you're like Meghan Trainor in a very cute commercial that they do with Patrick Mahomes, and she's offering to put his leg brace on his arm, and she's dancing around about it's all about the base and all that. Very cute.
I did see that. I did see that. I do watch commercials, so yes.
Yes, very cute. Let's hear it for Patrick. He does sports,
Yes.
So anyway, this, and I have a bone to pick with you because I noticed you may have quoted a friend of ours, friend of the network, Mark Betterow, in this article. Now, isn't it true, Ms. Conlin, that Mark Betterow is a huge fan of the New England Patriots?
Apparently.
And isn't it true that he was wearing New England Patriots paraphernalia when you did the interview? That may not be true, but I'd be shocked.
No, because actually the interview was over the phone. I got all the quotes over the phone, so I have no idea what he was wearing. And actually, if you want the truth about this, he owed me some Mangione stuff. And I said, you know what, let's scrap this. This seems a lot better, I feel so
he was, I'm sure, more than happy to minimize the impact this might have on Stefon Diggs. So I'm here to bring maybe a counter argument if we get into this a little bit. go over just the basics, and then we have a statement from him that he made in his locker at his locker. But let's listen to the
Yes.
basics. Go
Well,
ahead.
I mean, from my perspective and my understanding of this case is, when I first heard that he was in court for basically a felony case, I was confused. And I asked my husband, I was like, didn't he just play in a football game? Like, I heard you talking about him, and not because I know things, but I felt like I heard him say this. And he said, yeah. So I was like, well, wait a minute. This can't happen if he's playing football. And then we learn that this incident allegedly happened on, I think it was December 2nd. So right there, again, I don't know if I'm just trained to do this, but I just see so many holes. And I'm not saying, by the way, that Stefon Diggs' chef is lying at all. This very well may have happened. It was probably horrible. Men should not put their hands on women, vice versa, whatever. I don't really have to say it, but I do have to say it. When I say so many holes, I mean in court, in a courtroom, I see holes. But essentially it's over money she was owed. It sounds like she was a live-in chef. She was owed some back pay. Again, this is what it sounded like to me. And at one point he basically said, you have to leave. I have house guests coming, but he didn't offer to pay for a flight home, which I don't know where home is for her. But so it sounded like she had to spend more of her own money. She's arguing with him, over text. Clearly, we saw some text that I had a hard time reading. I was able to put it together initially, but yeah. So this kind of bubbles up where she quits, and he says to her, go talk to my assistant. She'll work out payment. So when she goes back to the house to get her stuff and to work out payment, the assistant says, okay, well, you got to sign an NDA. And this is when she had already spoken to the police. I think she called the police on the 16th, she had said. I talked to them on the 16th.
So a non-disclosure agreement, for those who might not be familiar.
Oh, yes, sorry.
About what he eats or whatever. Okay, fine.
Or who knows? Who knows what it said? I'm sure it was pretty extensive. From what we saw in the Diddy trial, it wasn't that it was extensive. It was long, but it was general. It pretty much covered everything. But yeah, so she goes back, and again, when she called the police, she just said she didn't necessarily want to press charges at the time. I mean, we can go back to this, but why do you call the police if you don't want to press charges and you don't want them to come and, monitor the situation? I am confused. And that's a genuine question.
Yeah. Or protect you. I mean, something. It's not just to, hey, let's have a conversation. I thought it might be better if you came here to do that. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You're right. And this is a true he said, she said, but in a very different context than what we're normally used to, exploring these things. There's no sexual component, right? Yeah. That's not even hinted at. It's an employer-employee relationship where there seems to be a dispute over services provided, rendered, paid for.
Yep.
And so, she says that got physical.
Well, she goes to the house. She doesn't want to sign the NDA. She goes into her room. Apparently, he comes into her room unannounced. The door was unlocked. And according to her, he basically choked her and she could not breathe, and he made it tighter, and he kind of whacked her a little bit and then threw her very forcefully onto the bed. So look, I mean, she then decides that on the 22nd that she wants to press charges, but she says, I had red marks on my neck, but I didn't take any photos or anything like that. And I think I had in my head, for whatever reason, just because it was fresh, sort of compared this police report to the Pat Beverly police report, the other NBA player or former NBA player. I don't know, whatever he is. He's a Barstool host, but he has been charged with a felony assault or impeding breath and circulation on his little sister, a 15-year-old in Texas. And that report was so horrible. The way they described that, where he choked her, he picked her up, he threw her against the wall. She had petechia in her eyes. He punched her in the eye. All these things, I was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. So reading this, I was like, that's horrible. Definitely could have been worse. And that's probably a horrible way to look at it also. I fully acknowledge that. But I think with that in my head, I was kind of like, if you were so shaken up about it and you were so physically injured, it's not like Stefon Diggs had been, I don't know, threatening you this whole time, where he said, you know, I'll kill you if you tell anyone. I'm always watching you. There's none of that stuff. You know what I mean? So why not just go to the police and file the charges? Like, I don't know.
It doesn't smell quite right. It doesn't pass the smell
Yeah.
test. And it makes you wonder, okay, if I'm going after somebody for financial reasons, then I need to paper this. You know, I need to, you know, get a police report, you know, do all those things that I would do to enhance the case. No pictures is weird. That's unfortunate. If she truly had some visible markings, and if she was truly strangled, I mean, the charge is felony strangulation. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
well, I mean, I guess my whole thing is she was going to quit, right? She was going to quit. Number one. That's another reason why it's like, just file the charges then. If you're going to quit, you know, just file them, you know, it's like, why not? And then the other thing is with, I keep going back to Diddy, but these women didn't tell because they were scared, and they had reasons to be scared. They, you know, I just felt like he wasn't constantly beating her. He wasn't constantly harassing her that we know of at this moment, right? So that just kind of was like, what's going on? Something's not right, just like you said.
And that's why when I put that in the context of domestic violence, it's in a bizarre way. You know, yes, she was a domestic employee, but not in the normal relationship way that we hear these kinds of stories. So, bottom line is the team is investigating it, the authorities are investigating it, and this could go away. It seems to me. I have to brush up on. Oh, by the way, guess where he lives? We know that, right?
Yeah,
Dedham,
that's
Massachusetts.
crazy. That's
Oh
crazy.
my God!
Well,
It's
I
the
think that
trilogy of terror.
some people were commenting, you know, oh, he'll just throw a bunch of money at this and it'll go away. But it's not a civil case. He can't just offer money and say, yes, this will go away. The judge has to make a ruling on this here. The judge has to determine if that's even going to be an option. You know, pay her what she's owed, pay her more than what she's owed. And then that's also the prosecutor. The prosecutor has to agree to drop the case.
Yes,
So it's not like he can just write a check here. It's like there's like a couple steps there that have to be taken.
Now, Lauren, what you're forgetting is Dedham, Norfolk County. Things happen there that maybe shouldn't. And maybe if a check is written, especially by a New England Patriot star, and that leads to her, you know, withdrawing her complaint, and you're absolutely right, the cops can still go forward, the prosecution can still go forward, the judge can still refuse to dismiss just because there's no complainant. And I think in general that's a great policy, because it prevents things from happening where somebody truly injured is bought off and then the wrongdoer skates. So in theory, I'm totally behind that. We're in a different world. We're in the bizarro world of Dedham, Norfolk County. I would not be surprised to see the case go away and a check written. I wouldn't
either. I'm with you 100%. And also, I mean, I do feel like, actually, I think Anastasia brought this up. She's in the chat. She was like, don't you remember that they fully supported Aaron Hernandez when everything came out? And I did not remember that. And then I think it was my husband who was like, yeah, you know, Robert Kraft, he likes to also have a good time. All these things. And I was like, okay, so I guess.
Remember that, the massage story?
Yes,
I remember that.
Exactly.
Ms. Wu or Lou, I think it was. Yeah.
So basically, I was just thinking to myself, I mean, you've got, with going back to Patrick Beverly, Barstool was just like, yeah, he's going to be taking some forced time off here. And then you've got the Patriots who are like, we stand by him. We need him for no, they didn't say that, but it's like, we need this guy for the playoffs.
Yeah. And so you ask, okay, if this guy were a third stringer taxi squad, would that be the case? Would they cut him loose? You know, we'll never know because he is who he is. And there's also another guy, Christian Barmore, I think his name is. I don't know enough about that case per se, but it's a lesser case as I understand it.
Yeah. I don't know much about that either. It was another domestic violence case that I'm pretty sure dropped the day after or something. Yeah, something crazy like, a day or two after. And I was just like, what is going on in New England? Can someone please tell me?
Yes. Well, again, It's Dedham. That's the
Yeah.
triangle of terror. Okay, let's listen real quick, like to what he had to say. This was just before their last game, which was yesterday.
Stefon, thanks. Sorry, I didn't. It's been a couple of days. I usually get to talk to you on Wednesday, but obviously it's a different time, a very emotional time. Taken back by some, things that's been going on. But I want to be here to say, sorry I wasn't available for those couple of days. It's a different kind of time, but dealing with everything. It's definitely an open case, so I can't even say anything about it. I will be open to any football questions, anything you want to know. I don't want to be rude or disrespectful in any way. So if anybody asks me a question that's pertaining to it, I'm obviously just give you a look. Y'all kind of know me at this point, but
okay. So now with that warning, listen to a couple of the questions that are asked.
Yes.
Shoot.
What kind of support have you had, Stefon, from your teammates? And we saw you yesterday on the field breaking huddle, and it seems like you're the leader out there at this point still.
Is that a football question?
Well, it's not about any sort of crime. It's just about how you lead and how your teammates support
regarding football, I'm gonna continue to be the guy I've been. Trying to finish the season strong. It's definitely it's a good team on the other side of the road. In the good heat, but going in with the right mindset, I'm gonna keep the same mindset. I've been a leader on this team. I've been the same person this whole time. I don't expect no changes from me. So,
how do you guys guard against distractions?
It's kind of been a thing throughout the year. We all deal with life stuff, family stuff, whether it's the worldly stuff. It's just, being a football team is hard. You band together, you lean on your brothers, you lean on your people that you spend the most time with. For me, I've been dealing with it my whole life, nothing new to me. So, I just got to roll with the punches, try to stay as positive as I can. And, it's definitely something you always got to adjust to, but I'm built for whatever.
That was actually a great question. Make a note of that one. How do you deal with distractions? Because that's clearly about the case.
Obvious,
it's not.
yeah.
It's not. Do you have a sore ankle? And then there's a
He
little.
did well. He
Yeah.
did well with that one.
Yeah, that was good. And then of course somebody always has to circle back.
Describe your focus right now.
As far as like football?
Football and off the field. Just your focus in general.
My focus is where it's been at.
How are you feeling about this about Sunday? Where's your head at going into this game?
I'm excited. It's gonna be another cold day. Not too much inclement weather. They said it might snow, so never too excited for the snow. But I'm excited. I look forward to a great opportunity. It's a good football team. We got to finish the season strong, especially if we want to go there. We want to go. They in the way. They for sure not gonna make it easy on us or give us a day off in May. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I can't wait to get out there and get active.
You talked about getting support from some of your teammates. Who are the guys that you've been leading on over the course, particularly over the last week or so?
I don't know why I haven't been leaning on. As far as like support wise, is you trust that your guys got your back and all instances. That's it.
Have you and Christian talked or texted?
Christian is my close teammate. Talk about what person?
Christian Barmore, you and he both dealing with some stuff off the field. Have you talked?
Is that a football question?
And scene.
Yeah, that was awkward. It's like, dude, that was stupid. That was obvious.
I mean, while I can appreciate as I'm sure you can, you can appreciate the attempt, but it's just like the other day when I was up there for Kelsey Fitzsimmons, and I don't know if you're familiar with Kelsey Fitzsimmons' case, right? She's released finally. Everybody's excited, and one of the reporters said, "Well, how do you feel that now that you're out, you don't have your baby?" I mean, it's like she was barely out the door, and it's just, come on, man.
That gives reporters a bad name. I don't know if anyone in the chat remembers this. How good of a guy is Stefon Diggs? And I could be totally wrong, but I know he and Cardi B are still together, but didn't he say something about her Brazilian butt lift, like smelling like a trash bag or something?
Oh my God.
No, really. And then she deleted all these photos of him on her Instagram. He said some bad stuff
Didn't they
about.
just have a baby in November?
Yes, but this was before. This was before.
So
Yeah,
she got
and
over that. Whatever it was, she got over it. And
yeah, but I was
they had a
like,
baby.
aren't we adults? Like, who says that? Like, who? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But
It's the timing on this could not be more interesting, and so I think from a legal standpoint and from just a gossipy standpoint, how this plays out is going to be very interesting. But I think nothing will change until the end of their season, and I think the prosecution is going to cooperate with that. The court's going to cooperate with that. And obviously,
they're all Pats fans.
Of course. How can they? You have to be.
Mhm.
You have to be. And for those who don't recall, I mean, Dedham is like 25 minutes south of Boston proper, so you're right there.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow that one. There's so much going on, but I want to follow that because I am very interested. I just want to know if there's more to this story. Like there's more to a history that they had, Stefon Diggs' alleged temper or whatever. I want to know more.
And maybe there was, I'm not trying to start anything, but if there was a physical or romantic aspect to this, would that elevate the tension between them?
Definitely. Right? Oh, if they banged or something, yeah.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, sorry, I'll say it. Yeah, definitely that would.
Yeah. So for those who haven't, got up to speed on it from our little discussion, check this out. LA Magazine. It's lamagazine.com.
Yes. Oh, it's lamag.com.
LA Mag. Oh, that's cool. Much more cool than lamag.com. Check that out. Okay. One more thing we should talk about before I let you loose here. We were all ready to talk about this trial that was going to begin in Georgia, this Sarah Grace Patrick trial, where she's accused. This is a 17-year-old being tried as an adult for what she's alleged to have done at age 16. In fact, just in February of I was going to say this year, of last year. Seems like just last week was 2025. And so it was, this was fresh because she wasn't even arrested till like July. And so ramming this through to get it to trial by now is probably unrealistic by the court. But nonetheless, they tried. Now there's some medical evaluation reports that are up in the air and not complete yet. So the prosecution wanted more time. They pushed it to August.
I saw that. I was just looking at that during your intro because I wasn't super familiar with this case. And then once I started reading about it, I was horrified.
Yeah,
I'm horrified. I mean,
there's a lot of horrific parts to it, and I know because it's not till August now, unfortunately. But I it's in my head, and I want to pick your brain about it. It seems to me, again, talk about a he said nobody said. I mean, for those who don't know, this is a double murder case in which the mother and stepfather of Ms. Grace Patrick were found shot to death in their bedroom. And she doesn't call 911 till her 5-year-old sister discovers the bodies and then says to her, I guess, to Sarah Grace Patrick, got to call the cops. They call the cops. She was so active on social media that people were starting to think that it was just weird that she was claiming to have no knowledge of anything, and maybe she doesn't, but to be so out there about it and, to speak at their funeral. And so it makes you wonder, what goods do they have? This is a bizarre case. And in your experience, tell me how you feel about this. There's not a lot of info out there. The cops have been very tight-lipped about it. On the other hand, some people think that there's been a very quick, it's a rush to judgment, like pin it on the girl, that kind of Karen Reed kind of approach to the investigation. But because not much is out there, we just keep hearing, we have volumes of evidence.
The voluminous discovery we always hear about. Yeah,
yes.
Right.
So what's your thought on the split as to this case? People that are so sure she did it and so sure she's being railroaded.
I mean, I guess without knowing enough here.
That's far too reasonable. No, you have to.
No, but I know, right?
Most people just come to a decision.
I'm just wondering if there is another suspect in mind that the defense is going or has in mind was actually,
what I'm thinking, I'm getting from this very little shards of information. There was no forced entry, but the door was ajar.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that means could be anybody, right? Or it could be somebody that knew them and was allowed to come in, but they apparently had drug issues, right? And it's been watered down to say just marijuana, but okay, in Georgia it's still illegal, so it's still a little more clandestine than if somebody around, New York is, as they do, walk around smoking a joint all day, fouling the air for the rest of us.
Yes.
So there's that angle, and drug deal gone bad is kind of a scenario that is floated out there.
I think you just said it, by the way. I think there's the doubt, and I think that if they're gonna, I don't know if you followed Sharon McCollum's Melissa Barger, however you say that, sorry, but the fact that her dad was a serial killer, I felt like it was so obvious her husband did it, but her father was a serial killer, and her mother knew about it and had admitted to disposing bodies with him. So the jury was like, the defense was, telling the jury, you've got a serial killer right here and an accomplice. Of course they did it. That's it. The parents did drugs and they had, meetings with drug dealers, whatever. There's the defense. She's going to sit on the stand. Like, what's her face? What's the girl, Carly, whatever, that shot her mom in the little like nun outfits? I don't even remember. Do you remember that? What was that one?
Wait a minute.
She looked like such a Catholic schoolgirl. It made me so mad. Dizzy. She shot her mom. And I think it was Florida. Her mom's name was Ashley Smiley. Carly Gregg. Thank you, Sarah. Carly Gregg. It's going to be like Carly Gregg, where she sits there, even though Carly Gregg was found guilty. It's just like they're going to put her in this outfit. She's going to sit there, act innocent, act like she's, has mental issues. And maybe she does. Again, I don't know enough, but I feel like that's
what we're going to see too is all of this social media stuff. Now there's going to be motions in limine out the wazoo. Well, it's a legal term there, out the wazoo, to keep a lot of this stuff out, because she was, just like any 15, 16-year-old, they're kind of coquettish and they're kind of sexy at times, and they make it look like she's older than she probably is, and maybe she's kind of precocious. So we'll see how much of that comes in. No doubt at the time of trial, she's going to be sitting there looking like, the wannabe nun, right? And
totally. Yes.
Some of the basic facts. Yes. But to her defense, no gun ever found. And they searched. So they're putting a lot of sophistication on what was then a 16-year-old girl to carry out this master crime.
Right. No, totally. I admittedly do not know enough about that case, but everything you told me there, that seems like a very, very plausible defense. And I think a jury would definitely buy into it, especially if they're not showing any tangible circumstance, or all the evidence is circumstantial. There's nothing, there's nothing there for us to actually see. So, I don't know. Times are changing. There's more evil in this world, and teens and kids are totally becoming way more evil than I could ever really imagine.
I blame it on social media.
School shootings, everything. So it's also, there's that, but still,
Okay, is it your birthday by any chance? Or is it just
No,
Sarah?
it's not.
Okay, Sarah Creative is wishing happy birthday to her beautiful love.
Somebody said it was their birthday.
It's Joy. Is that Joy? Is that Joy Schmehar? Is it Joy's?
Happy birthday, Joy.
I'm just guessing, but thank you, Sarah. Be creative. Appreciate that. Caleb Schillinger from NDAO. Oh my God, that's Norfolk DA's office. Caleb Schillinger is the Pat's lawyer. Okay, well, it's incestuous. We know that. And it's probably going to have an impact on that case ultimately. And again, we're flashing back now. We'll call back to Stefon Diggs. We'll find out what happens with him after the season, I predict.
Yes.
So we'll see about that. Okay. I think I'm going to let you go and get back to your feeding your kids and,
Yeah. I was like, can you hear them? They're like yelling and like, oh, that's good. I wonder. I'm like, are they like super loud?
Nope. Nope. And
okay, good. Okay,
we're
great.
used to that stuff anyway. Dogs barking, kids yelling and screaming. That's the beauty of this setup we have here. Well, Lauren, as always, an amazing pleasure. I just love running into you whenever I can, and I'm so glad I did at the last events down there. And
so happy to see you.
Maybe it'll be who knows, another world leader will be captured, and I'll see you down there in court.
Or come in March. There's a lot going on in March.
I see the billboard you've set up. Yes, I'm gonna do that. And everybody check out LA
Yes, you can find all my articles, lamag.com. You can also, I would love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Los Angeles Magazine videos. You can subscribe to my personal channel, Pop Crime TV, if you don't already, my Twitter. I think you're amazing mods, Sheila and Dizzy and everybody. They put everything in the chat. So I
Cool.
really appreciate it. Thank you like so much. You're so nice.
Very cool. Well, we'd love to have you, and I will bother you again, I promise.
Please bother me. More brothel talk. All right,
Oh,
thanks,
gosh.
guys.
Okay.
See you later.
Thanks, Lauren. Bye. Oh, yeah, that was a flashback. I wasn't sure I was. Hi, Missy. No, Missy's gone now. I probably plopped her in there. Sorry, Missy. Yeah, that brothel rehash was, it was scary, and it's such a great story in the retelling, but living it was a little shaky there. Let me throw this up again here. Lauren Conlin, LA Mag. There it is. Check that out. All the stuff that she has written and will write. Great stuff. Great insight. And on X, she's always posting stuff from wherever she happens to be, which is always fun. Okay. So let's see what else I got for you here. All righty. Now, once again, Linda Kenney Baden. She is in Harvard. She'll be there through the week. So we have many more guests to bring your way. Tomorrow night, Terry Austin. She and I and Linda were Law and Crime hosts. And we're going to talk, among other things, about the Karen Read case. Again, and I haven't run this by Missy, but I'm sure it'll be fine. We're going to be streaming at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Karen Read hearing, which is going to be a lot of arguing about discovery. So once you sift through all the BS, we'll be able to kind of bring from that some of the nuggets of really important information. This is the civil case, the wrongful death case brought by John O'Keefe's family, and the defendants include Karen Read and the bars, of course. So we'll sift through all of that junk and get to the good stuff. We know that they've agreed on a few things. A lot of discovery hassles should be handled without the court's help. If you're going to be a sophisticated, reasonable attorney, a lot of this stuff doesn't need to go in front of the court. The court doesn't like it. It's like separating kindergartners in school. Just try and work it out in the sandbox yourselves. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they need the court. And tomorrow we're going to get a sense of where they are with a lot of this discovery in this never-ending case. All right. Okay. In the meantime, let me see if I can move this over here. There we go. Please do some subscribing and liking and sharing. I think some of the trolls who have it out for me now are going in and unsubscribing people. So just a heads up. And tomorrow night, we'll do the same thing, 6 o'clock. Terry Austin will be here. We hope you will join as well. I'm Michel Bryant. This is Justice Served TV. Please try to do the right thing.
Sun in the sky.